Right. Yeah, that's better. Well, getting better. Back to work. I'm a bit bored. So I've look on Facebook. There's my little group. And what we've got in here. Jewel, I've not forgotten about you, honestly. And there's your question. So, this is going to be about ravioli. Let's see if we can help. Well, hello there, and welcome back to the channel. It's nice to be here. The reason why I'm doing this video, as we can tell, it's quite late on at night, and the door's open because it's still quite warm, is I had a message from Jewel a few months ago now, and unfortunately people that know me would have been aware, as they have sciatic and nerve problems at this moment in time, and have to go through physio, acupuncture, stuff like that. But I'm getting better. It's great. I'm actually back at the desk. I'm back at work, so wanted to move on with work and the book. Now, unfortunately, I haven't done that much writing recently, but things like this inspire me, and it gets me back into doing the things I want to do. First of all, I have to apologise because I've been looking down a lot and looking at different screens during this video, instead of looking at the camera. Just one of those things. So looking at the Facebook group, is that Jewel simply left this message, which is, I need help with diabetes. I need help with this diabetic type 2. I'm finding it really hard cause I don't like nothing fruit and veggies, salad and that sort of stuff in effect. I do eat, I grill, I eat stuff out of a tin, spaghetti, ravioli, bean soup, but full of sugar. I'm not a sweet person. I avoid stuff like that. You just need to guide me on what I can and cannot eat. So that to me is quite a message, quite a lot in there, and I think that if I put the message at the bottom here, going across, and then we can go through it bit by bit. So, I need help with diabetes, or diabetic type 2, should put it, diabetes type 2. Well, I'm getting a lot of people saying I want a lot of help with diabetes type 2, and in the book it tells you what to do to reverse it. I spoke to a few people who's had diabetes type 2 recently and give them instant tips of what to do, which is like a diluted version of the book. So obviously the idea is if you want to the full version, buy the book when it's released in December. However, you can have a diluted version now. Now, because it's quite complicated, well, it's not complicated, but it's steps to follow, I'm going to do that in another video, which is going to be my fast fix diabetes clinic, diabetes type 2, which will come out in a little while. But you're right, everybody needs help with diabetes type 2. So second part of it is I'm finding it really hard because I don't like to eat fruit, veg, salad and stuff like that. Well, I'll do another video about this, but basically eating fruit, salad will take on board. There's two parts of food. One is calories, saturated fats and sugar, basically, which I'll go into in a minute. The other part of it is nutrients, which is all your vitamin A's, B, C's, whatever, omega-3s. What your body wants is nutrients. So what I'll be looking at is high nutrient food rather than what you would traditionally call diet food. So you don't really want fruit and veg as a main diet. You don't want to be on salads, especially if you're buying at the supermarket, because there's no nutrition in them. And what your body wants and needs is simply nutrition. That's it. People that do want to do fruit and veg and salads, you have three options. The worst option is to go to a supermarket, and I'll explain in later videos. The next better option is to go to markets, find a fruit and veg shop, because they'll have fruit and veg which is generally uncovered, not bagged, which have been locally produced. Because it's locally produced, it isn't a fast crop, therefore it's going to have more nutritional information, more nutritional elements in each food that you actually purchase and eat. And the last option is to go organic, which has the most nutrients in there. It's better for your body. If you've got diabetes type 2, it's going to help to reverse it quicker, but it's expensive. It's a usually expensive option. So, but don't get hung up on eating fruit, veg, salad, because you might think that you're doing the right thing, but realistically, and especially the way that fruit and veg and salad is actually grown these days, if you're buying it from a supermarket, it's better than eating your processed food. It's better than going to the chipper, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's not going to do what you expect, which is lose a lot of weight, become super over, get rid of any form of disease like diabetes type 2. So hopefully that explains that bit. Don't get hung up on these things. I do eat stuff out of a tin. Well, I do obviously the in the kitchen range of videos, and that's going to be expanded for two reasons. Number one, it was done because when I was younger I liked cooking, and I think that the stuff which I make is fun, easy to do, and is extremely very tasty, so it's worth doing a few of these things. Secondly, is that in the book I'm going to do a similar sort of exercise as what we're going to do tonight with your question, but it's impossible to put every single type of food in there. So I'm going to do food challenges, which is similar to what we're going to do today. You know, if you need to eat from tins, great, but we'll maximise that effort, versus how to simply cook things, which is going to be far more healthier. You know exactly what's in each food that you're eating, and you completely take control of your food. But I do understand that not everybody wants to cook. Everybody feels like they can't cook. Everybody in the world can cook, but you know, we'll move forward. So what I want to do with this video is concentrate on the spaghetti, ravioli, beans. In fact, what I'll concentrate on the ravioli initially, and I'll call the video ravioli, so that ties in nicely. Now what we're saying there is that we have these things which are full of sugar. Now I'm not a sweet person. I avoid that sort of stuff. So once again, it's difficult to say what sort of foods to eat. I won't get hung up on it. I'm diabetic. Let's look at the diabetes sheet, because that will tell you basically what the diabetes type 2 sheet tells you is a very simple thing. You are eating sugar and carbohydrates. Now sugar goes directly into your bloodstream and it's stored as sugar. Carbohydrates goes into your bloodstream and it instantly gets transformed to sugar. So the first thing to realise, carbohydrates and sugar is in effect exactly the same thing when you eat it. You can get slow release carbohydrates, so that it turns into sugar gradually over the day, which can be a good thing. A lot of people go mad for it. My position, it's bad, because if you've got controlled sugar throughout the day, how can you control that sugar? Once again, look at the diabetes type 2 video coming out, and that will explain that even further. So what I tend to do is we'll kind of reverse the question a little bit and just say I like spaghetti, ravioli and beans. So we'll take ravioli. So what I tend to do is, if we whiz back to the desktop, hence like I said, I'm spending quite a bit of time on the desktop on this question. Now I wanted to know what sort of food I'll be eating, and the only way you could discover that was by going into a supermarket and start looking at tin after tin after tin, and it was difficult. So these days we're really fortunate because we have shopping centres online. So if we're going to Asda, I'm not saying shop at Asda, I'm not being funded by Asda, it's just in effect the one which I picked. And here we have the search criteria. So in there we can type in ravioli, and instantly we get a list of lots and lots of foods with ravioli. Now, I generally break this list into 3 portions. You get the branded food, which in this case is Heinz. You also get the shopped or the supermarket brand, which is Asda, and then you get the bargain basement sort of brand, which in this case is Smart Price. So what's the difference there? Well, a manufacturing company will produce a food, in this case ravioli, and there you go, it's produced. It's a basic food, it won't have that many additives in it, it won't have that much sugar in it, it's just a very, very basic food. We produce that as the Smart Price product. Then it'll go down the chain and supermarkets will basically say, I want my branded food, which I can charge a little bit more for, on the shelf for longer. So we need to add fats, saturated fats, we need to have sugars because it's more appealing. If you buy the Smart Price version, you're going to go, well, that was okay, but if you buy the Asda Price version, well, that was really nice, I'd have another 10 of that, and a lot of it's the sugar that they put in there additionally, which makes it more addictive. And then you have the same batch of food going out, which is then produced into wines, across from Blackwell or whatever it is. And what they'll do is add probably even more fats, sugars, and possibly additional flavourings, colours, e-numbers to make it look how they want their product. So no doubt you have Heinz, top of the market leaders, with a product that they produce which they want it to look appealing, nice and addictive. You've got the supermarket brand on the other hand, where it's produced and it's there to be addictive, not necessarily to look nice and not necessarily to compete with the main brand. But then you have a very, very basic product, which is your Smart Price, and that is going to be less in saturated fat, less in sugars. So that hopefully will answer that first question. So what I tend to do is simply bring up something, well, there will be something in the book and something on the diet sheet along this sort of lines, and it'll be called branding. So the only thing I need to do here, we'll zoom it in a bit so we can see, is there. I tend to put in brand, so we know it's ravioli, so we just want the brand. We want to know how many calories are in there. Now, higher the calories, the more chance you've got of putting weight on with this product. The lower calorie, the less chance you've got of putting weight on with this product, so therefore lower is better. We want sat fat, which is your saturated fats, and the only other thing that we're interested in is carbohydrates, so we'll put in carbs. And if we whiz up here and just tell it to format it as a table, then it's going to look a lot better for the video, and we'll get rid of the filters. Now, one thing I was going to put on here, I've toyed with this in the past, is do I put this on or not? I am going to put it on, which is price, because many diets and stuff like that, you go onto something and they say buy our products, come to our meeting, etc, etc, and it's a very, very expensive situation to be in. By looking at this, we can possibly save money as well. So back to our supermarket, our virtual supermarket. So if we look at Heinz first of all, we're going to go for the 400 gram tins hopefully. First bit is Heinz, and the only thing what we want to look at is scroll down, and we get to this little bit here called nutritional information. Now this is what we're used to in this country. Unfortunately, it's only part of the story, which we'll cover in later videos, but for our example we'll go for it. So it's 147 calories. Now the only thing I'm going to do is put it down there. It's 147 calories, which is shown there. Saturated fat is 3.1 grams. Got 3.1 grams. No, sorry, the saturated fat, sorry, is 1.4 grams. So that's what we're interested in. So I'll get rid of that. So it's 1.4 grams. The price of it is, ooh, I don't know, £1. So we can put that up here. It's £1. And carbs. Now carbohydrates, they always say carbohydrates, of which sugar is. What I do is take the full amounts of 24 grams, and the reason why that is because yes, the carbohydrate and the sugar is separate. The sugar will go straight into the bloodstream and cause fat. The carbohydrate will release slowly over time, but it will turn into sugar and therefore fat. So therefore the thing for me is that it's the entire same thing. Now the reason why I put it down here is if we look up here it says per half can. Now I know that most people will chuck the full can in the microwave. I don't know that many people which will just go for the half can. So anything I want to do here, put equals sum that times 2. So there we go, so it's 294 calories. Carbohydrates is 48, and that's where the problem is. Like Joe said, it's full of sugar, and there we go, 48. Saturated fat, 2.8. So what I tend to do now is just use this as a food challenge. So can we find a better product with lower numbers? And this is a great way of making it so you can eat exactly the same food but without compensating. So this one is 55 pence. And we'll go back down here, it's probably quoted in half cans again. So here we go, obheated per half can. Now number of calories 162. Carbohydrates 25. And then your final, which is saturated fat, 1.3. So I think what we need to do is put these up here. So it's 324, 50, 2.6. So what this is telling us is if you want to lose weight, the Asda brand itself is no good. It's containing higher calories than what the Irons is. Carbohydrates for diabetes type 2, it's slightly more, but in fairness, it's only marginal. Saturated fat is now 2.6 instead of 2.8, and which isn't bad. I mean, I recommend people without conditions is to keep an eye on this level, and considering that your target's around 7 grams of fat per day, that is not bad. But obviously if you have heart conditions, then that's a better alternative. So smart price, so once again we go back here and we'll look at the smart price on beef ravioli. Now this is 45 pence. Now this one is once again per half can, which is, you've got to keep, some people look at these and go, oh that's not too bad, 151 calories. But they forget it's only half a can. Saturated fat 1.1, and then carbohydrates 26, 52, so 302, 52, and 2.2. So really we can get rid of that. So we can see is that the Irons is kind of breaking the rule at the moment. Normally I'd expect the Irons ones to have more calories in it, but we can have a significant saving with the Smart Price product at 302 calories. The carbohydrates is once again more or less about equal throughout all three products, so that doesn't really, you know, there's not a great deal in there. I would say, you know, you're going to be able to find a better product than ravioli, but the diabetic sheet says average sugar, this has got the sugar in there, whatever. Interestingly enough, that I would say it's significant is that you look at the Smart Price, you've got 2.2 of saturated fat compared to 2.8 in the Irons version, so that is going to vastly improve the art situation. So what I would say under this sort of thing is that with the ravioli, it's you know, you're right, basically, Joe, you're right. It's sweet, it's full of carbs. And the only thing what I do with these things is that if you take the carbohydrate level, so even if you take the Smart Price one, and we simply say sum that and divide it by 5, that'll give you the number of teaspoons that's in there. So you're looking like 10 teaspoons of sugar. I know that on the national statistics they say basically it's 15 divided by 15, but I spoke to a lot of people. I spoke to people in America and everybody else says, right, let's go for 5. So if you want to stick to the ravioli, what you need to do is go for the Smart Price one. Now what I do is that there's 55p in difference, so going back to how much a diet costs, it's 55p that you're saving based on the Heinz version. If you have 2 a week, then you're going to save £1.10p. You times that by 52, and you instantly make a saving of £57.20 per year just by switching to Smart Price ravioli rather than Asda ravioli. So that's ravioli. What I'd suggest as well is that because the Smart Price version doesn't have as many additives, sweeteners, etc., etc., do it like we used to do it in the 80s. Bit of salt or a bit of pepper, and that'll get rid of, if you like, the boring dull taste and perp it up a little bit. So let's go back to the question. Bear with me, doing all this live. So I need help. So I have tins of spaghetti, ravioli, bean soup. I'm not a sweet person, I avoid stuff like this. You just need guiding in what I can and cannot eat. So if we're going for the tin stuff, so once again, only thing what we need to do is go back to Asda. Now, if you want to stick with tins, I would say something which is quite nice is, I don't know, something like the curry. So if you go for, shall we say, korma curry, so it's not too hot. And once again, if you're cooking it yourself, then that's the thing to aim for. And you know, it's pretty straightforward. You can get recipes. I'll be doing curry recipes shortly. But here we go, chicken korma. We'll have a look at that. So we'll go for an Asda chicken korma. So we'll get rid of this, and then we're going for chicken korma. We're going for Asda. Now what I found is that a lot of people with diabetes type 2 worry about moving the foods a little bit too much. You know, they do not want to have a dramatic change because they're worried that the sugar levels may drop. If they do, then how's the diabetic medication going to affect them? Are we going to go into diabetic comas, things like that? And for a lot of people it becomes quite a frightening ordeal. So what we're looking at now is something which is more bitter and just something a little bit, you know, less sweet, but still a 10, so we can still throw it in the microwave and do whatever it is that we want to do. So if you look at 348 calories, 348, what's that pinned into me? 348 calories. Now once again, this is just half can. But then if we look at the saturated fats, we're on 13 grams. And if we look at the carbohydrate, it's 9.6. So once again, looking at that, it's a case of that's only half can, so we're doubling a lot in calories. And the problem is with diabetes type 2 is that we want to keep the weight down. Doing it this way, we're building up those calories, so we don't really want to do this route. Now, and the other one which I spotted was something like chicken hot pot. So if we go to the hot pot, and we find a tin of this. So we'll have a look at the Asda Chunky Minted Lamb Hot Pot Soup. And what we discover here is that this is going to be different. It's going to be better than your ravioli. It's got mint in it. It's going to be quite tasty. And once again, we're going back to the half can, so we'll get rid of the korma. That was a bad idea. And if we go back up over here, so this time we're looking at just half can again, but this time we're looking at 118 calories. What's the carbohydrate level? 13. And saturated fat is, oh, I've lost it, 1.4. So once again, we have to double these for a full 10, because I know that most people will go for a full 10. So at this point we're not looking at price anymore, we'll get rid of that. The main point is that you can save money by going for different brands. So the point is now is this for a full 10. So now we're down to 236 calories, which means is that we are now going to reduce weight compared to the ravioli. The carbohydrates have been halved. It's minty, it's lamb, it's a much better substance for you. It's got what, half the sugar in there. It's going to please you far more than what the ravioli is going to please you. And saturated fat content, that's back up again, but in this demo we're looking at diabetes type 2, not necessarily heart conditions. Even at 2.8, if your maximum is 7 to 10 per day, then once again, even that's not too bad. Excuse me while I have my wine. So let's say it's a very late night doing this video, but considering Josie's been waiting 11 weeks for this answer, I think it's you know, not too bad. Something that needs doing. So once again, if you go for a hot pot soup, it's going to be filling, it's going to be nice. It's I don't know what the price was, 75 pence. You're going to save money over your ravioli. You know, go for that. I mean, in effect, if we go back to here, you could have almost 2 tins of that, from the carbohydrate and the sugar level to 1 tin of your even the smart price ravioli. Potentially you could have 2 tins of this, and that's it. Really, to carry on with this video, we need to know what sort of food Joe likes. So hopefully she'll message me back and say, well, actually the foods which I really love and adore is, you know, whatever it is. Unfortunately, there's thousands. I mean, this is the problem which I have with my book, is that there's thousands and thousands and thousands of products to choose from in a supermarket, and the book can't cover them all. But this methodology of look at what you're eating, do that little bit of research on calories for weight loss, carbohydrates for diabetes type 2, saturated fats for heart conditions, go for the lower numbers. And if you go for smart price, once again, it's kind of, well, that's a bit bland, we'll put a bit of salt in it. You know, smart price beans I absolutely adore. When you get them, you try them and they go, oh, they're bland, so you put a little bit of salt in, and they probably taste just as good as the Heinz ones and anything else. But what I love to do is a cap of curry powder. Put a cap of curry powder in, and suddenly end up with curry beans. Then put a cap of chili powder in when you're next serving, and then you end up with chili beans. And you can experiment with stuff like that. And you know, Asda's beans is what, 30 pence a tin, and you can start experimenting with food. And what it does learn you is that you can transform the, you know, the taste of food. So I mean, that, if you like curry stuff, try that. We'll have another one last quick look if I just whiz over to this section again. So if you just type in smart price beans, beans, just as a note, you know, another suggestion. Baked beans, there we go, 23p a tin. And if we whiz round back to our spreadsheet, so we'll go for smart price beans. That probably put it down there a little bit so it's a bit more understanding. And this is 165 calories. Once again, the saturated fat is 0.2 and the carbohydrates is 27. And once again, what I always check is it a full tin or a half tin? Quite often you still see it's a half tin. Move that up a little bit, there you go, per half can. So if we once again look at this and times it by 2, drag that across, we now have 330 calories. So we go back to a ravioli, it's still less than the ravioli. Carbohydrates back to 54, but they are going to taste relatively sweet. But once again, people with heart conditions, 0.4 unsaturated fat. So this is a good one for people with heart issues. But like I say, what you can do with these beans is simply add curry powder. Just literally go, get some curry powder, cap, throw them in, mix them in as you're warming them up. Try it, it gives you a completely different taste. So there's a few ideas. Hopefully this video has been helpful. There will be more videos coming up. I'm impressed I've done it in one take with a bad back, even though it is getting better, I must admit. I haven't put the t-shirt on today. I will do eventually. And like I said, Joel, if you have a type of food, then let me know. I will be doing the diabetes type 2 version of my quick fix rebuckle clinic. It's just going to be my way of doing things. It won't be the full version, but it will help anybody with diabetes type 2, so I urge anybody to watch that, which will be out in a couple of weeks. And in the kitchen, that will continue and continue and continue to build up different products, different ideas. I'll probably do one on beans now. It's quite a good one to do, because you get that variation. If you want any more information, let me know. Anybody else watching this, like, subscribe. If you're watching it on Facebook, share it. If you've got issues with a certain type of food, let me know. We can come up with alternatives. It's much better to say, is there a better alternative to this product which I like, or these are the type of foods I like, which one could you recommend? But rule of thumb is organic. If you can't afford organic, supermarket for your fruit and veg. Failing that, supermarkets. But I do like the markets because it's locally grown and you are supporting the local farmers and stuff like that, which is always a wonderful thing. Quickly, for meat and veg, try and find a butcher's, even though that there's not a great deal around. You'll pay more, but the food is less tampered with. There will be another video on tampering, which is quite shocking, but people should be aware of it. Failing that, look for meat distribution. So you've got Best in Bury, you've got Tony Doors, you've got people like that where they just sell the meat in vats, but it's not tampered, it's not watered down, not as fresh as the butcher's, but tastes wonderful, still restaurant quality meat. And then your third option, once again, is back to the supermarket for your meats. So we've got fruit, veg, meats, so I think that's probably it. If you can, get a cookbook, or follow some of these videos. If you want requests on how to make stuff, then let me know and I'll gladly do a video on it. But if you can cook your own food, you're avoiding sugars, you're avoiding saturated fats, you're avoiding trans fats, you're avoiding stuff that people put in to keep the shelf life going, you're avoiding brines, you're avoiding water. There's a whole lot of stuff that supermarkets and other shops will put into food that you don't even know about. So, and then they even add more when they put it into cans. So if you don't like the can side of it and you want to eat properly, try and learn a little bit of home cooking. So that's it for this one. It's probably been quite a long video. I hope it's useful. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll look forward to the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, things like that. We've got 5 subscribers. Hello there, 5 subscribers. I expected none, so good on you, and hopefully we'll get some more. So thank you for watching and we'll see you soon.